I'm a higher ed CMO, and I have a confession to make. When I met my guest for this week's show, I was absolutely blown away by everything that she is doing with a small team of 5 people managing an over $2 million marketing budget entirely in-house. I think there is so much that people who are working at a college or university with a small number of resources, working in a college or a school or marketing graduate programs, I think there's so much that you can get from Cristina in this episode. Cristina is a dynamic marketing leader and a computer engineer with over a decade experience in marketing, analytics, and web application development. She is the Associate Director of Marketing Analytics at the Chapman Graduate School of Business at Florida International University, and she oversees the marketing strategy for more than 25 graduate programs. She has a background in applications development, and with that, she integrates technology with marketing to enhance user experience, optimize digital strategy, and streamline analytics. I think you're really going to enjoy this conversation with Cristina Lopez Yakimenko. Welcome to Confessions of a Higher Ed CMO, a podcast that empowers higher ed marketers to bring innovation, creativity, and excellence to their work. I'm your host, Jaime Hunt. Join me every 2 weeks for discussions with some of the best minds in higher education marketing. Confessions of a Higher Ed CMO is part of the Enrollify Network, a robust collection of podcasts designed to help higher educational professionals like you grow. Explore our other shows at enrollify.org or check out some of my personal favorites linked in the show notes below. Enrollify is made possible by Element 451, the leading AI-powered all-in-one student engagement platform, helping institutions create meaningful, personalized, and engaging interactions with students. Learn more at element451.com. I'm so delighted to be here with Cristina Lopez Yakimenko. Thank you so much for being on the show.
It's my pleasure, Jamie. Thank you so much for inviting me.
I am so excited to talk to Cristina, in part because she works at one of the schools that's my client, and we were having a conversation. She was talking about everything that her team is doing for the business college, and I was so impressed with everything. And then she said she's doing it all in-house. Like I have to have this conversation. And I would love to hear why your team decided to manage all of your advertising efforts in-house.
Yes. So, Jamie, it was a mix of the situation we were in and the results we needed to achieve in a short time period. Back in 2018, the FIU Chapman Graduate School of Business Marketing team was established, and our goal was to generate the necessary lead volume and drive applications to achieve our enrollment goals. And so the team was created with existing talent in the College of Business, and it was just 3 people. And mainly our goal was to run digital ads on different advertising platforms and send emails. And we knew how to do that. And that's it. We got our hands on and we're focused on success, right? So the 3 members had a very diverse set of skills. For example, in my case, I have a computer engineering background. And then I was doing at the time a master's in marketing. So I was wearing so many hats, doing digital ads, focusing on improving the landing page's performance, checking Google Analytics, writing the copy for an ad, doing banners. So for us at the moment, because we needed to be so agile and move fast, we decided to keep it in-house, and it worked for us. Then we learned a lot, right? So 7 years after, right now in 2025, we looked at we've grown so much. We launched almost 7 or 6 new programs, like a doctoral program, other specialized master's degrees, MBAs. But we already had a template, a blueprint of how to launch new programs, how to market them. So our team grew, and we passed down that knowledge to the rest of the team, and it worked for us. So we keep doing things in-house. Is it easy? No, it's always very fluid. Every day is different from the previous, but it's also a lot of fun for us.
How big is your team?
So Right now, we have 5 members, full-time members, a designer who helps with the banners and the video editing work. Then we have a content strategist who focuses on writing articles for the website, reviewing the content on the website, writing email copies, right? Like the email for the different programs, and also social media, right? Then we have 2 account managers that focus on the ads and all the paid marketing initiatives that it's Google ads and social media. And then I kind of direct the orchestra, but also work on every aspect of our marketing initiative. So it's very fluid, and even the content strategies can help with ads, or the account managers closely collaborate with the video editing process. So yes, our team is very fluid. And just so you have an idea, we have more than 25 graduate program options at FIU Chapman Graduate School of Business. And just in 2024, 2025 academic year, we matriculated 1,630 graduate students. It's a lot of volume, and we need to generate a lot of leads and a lot of applications, considering that not everybody who applies enrolls. So it's interesting, but also very challenging.
Oh, I bet. I mean, that is just so much work. Like, I just think about the volume of stuff that you're doing, and your budget is not small. Like, you're spending millions of dollars, and you're, I think, probably saving hundreds of thousands of dollars by not using an agency. But what are some of the other advantages that you found from not using an agency and doing it in-house?
Yeah, so some of the competitive advantages that we found of not using an advertising agency was that we are able to be very nimble, innovate quickly, test and pivot, because we have all our talent in house. So the communication flow is faster. We're all on the same page. We meet daily, and we are hyper focused on our projects, right? I will assume, not to generalize, but when you work with agencies, they have other clients. Sometimes you don't get immediate response, and then there's some noise in the communication process, and perhaps your vision is not always clearly communicated, or people understand it differently. So that is a big plus, that we have all our talent in house, so we can execute things confidently. And also we have direct access to the data of all these advertising platforms, and Meta or Google or LinkedIn, even Google Analytics. They all provide a lot of data about our audience and the performance of our ads, and that help us do quickly A/B tests, see what message resonates the most. And so we are able to be assessing the performance at faster pace, right? And so we don't have that extra layer of communication there. And then all our budget, it's basically focused on delivering the advertising results. So there is no overhead, and that helps us save some money. And we know public universities usually are short in budget. So that helps for our team as well.
That's so true. I was thinking about when I was at Winston-Salem State, and it was like we had to squeeze every single penny, every single bit of value we could get out of every single penny. And, we worked with a vendor for most of our advertising, but a lot of stuff, like if we were buying billboards, print ads, fill in the blank, everything except the digital, we were doing that in-house because we just couldn't afford to go outside of to vendors. So I just think it's so impressive, everything that you're doing on the digital side, because that's very complex. So you're doing digital ads, you're doing the email campaigns, social media, content marketing. Do you have an example of a recent successful campaign that worked, and how did you make it work?
Yeah, so we manage in-house the paid ads, right? The digital marketing side, and also content marketing, right? So initially, as I was mentioning, we were very focused on performance marketing. Then we realized we need to really focus on content marketing. So then we launched our FIU Chapman Graduate School of Business social media channels, LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram, right? And so content marketing has been a game changer for us. And just to give you an example, back in 2021, we launched a new program called the MBA in Sports Management. And this program is the result of a partnership with Escuela Universitaria Real Madrid. So we'll know the Real Madrid Football Club. It's a huge brand, right? So we were expecting major success and lots of enrollments for this program. And let me tell you, the interest and the excitement was there, but we were not seeing the conversion rates high, right? So lots of volume of interest and leads were not converting. And then we realized, okay, Real Madrid is a very popular brand, but at the end of the day, you're enrolling to earn an MBA. And it's a lot of time and money. And we need to establish that trust and show people that this is a valuable degree that will help you advance in your career. So we launched a series of webinars with alumni from the program that graduated from the realm, graduated earlier in the Escuela Universitaria, right? Our partner. And we had like 4 or 5 events per year where we would invite high profile alumni, and they will explain and talk to our prospective students about the before and after, the challenges they faced in their career, and how having an MBA helped them, right? We'll know we could show ads of Real Madrid players, write emails, tell them how amazing this program is. But if you don't show it, if you don't bring the real person that can explain you a specific element of their career, that trust is not there, right? So we invited high profile individuals that work at FIFA, Fanatics, Major League Soccer, and we saw the difference. We had back in 2023, for example, 20 students enrolled in the program. Now we have 70 active students. So we almost
Wow.
tripled the number of students enrolling. And I believe, obviously, we kept the ads running, the emails, but having this experiential component where people can have a memorable experience, real world interactions, had a major impact in our marketing work. So, yes.
That's fabulous. I mean, to have that kind of growth in the program based on like adding in a content marketing layer is just so impressive. And MBAs are really hard to market, right? Like it's such a competitive space. What are some other things you've done to kind of help your MBA programs stand out?
Yeah, so you have to understand what are the reasons people want an MBA, right? And see how our program aligns with those needs. Often we see people are looking for flexibility, right? And we offer that. People are looking for a tangible result on their careers, like the before and after of earning an MBA. And so every pain point, we try to address it through content and data. Sometimes data is hard because you would love to have all the salaries of people before starting an MBA and 3 months after and a year after. But we try to collect as much data as possible. And it's all about establishing that trust. So it's nurturing people, it's being present on social media and having those real stories, right? The ad gets you at the door, right? You say, oh, this is a interesting MBA. Let me read a little bit more about that. But then also we keep nurturing and showing that they should trust us. And that is very important, the work of the recruiter, right? Our recruiters are very responsive, provide lots of information, and are there present through the journey. So I would say marketing and recruitment have to go hand in hand for success. If I bring you tons of leads and you contact them a week later, I mean, my work is useless.
Oh my gosh, that's so true. I think I've talked on this podcast before about a program where we got literally hundreds of RFIs completed and they sat on them for like 3 or 4 months before they did anything. And then by then, the students had found other programs, right? Like the opportunity was lost. And I was so annoyed. Like we worked so hard on the campaign and making it be so robust. And then for the recruitment side to have dropped the ball was so disappointing.
Yeah. You have to be responsive at every stage of the student journey. It's crucial. Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree.
How do you manage that relationship? Do you guys meet regularly or how do you stay connected with your recruiters?
Well, we connect constantly with the recruiters. I do, the account managers do. Questions we ask: how is the lead volume? How's the lead quality? And also, we like to hear anecdotal data, like what are they telling you about this program? Let's say one that is 20 months, one that is 10 months. And we need to constantly be hearing from them. Let's say sometimes you hear, I'm getting a good percentage of prospects that don't have a bachelor's degree, and you have to go back to your advertising platform and say, what's generating, am I showing ads to people who don't have a bachelor's, or right? So we have to be in constant communication so they know who we're trying to bring, right? We want the highest quality leads, people who are engaged, who are interested in earning the degree, but then we need to hear how good that lead is. So we also work closely with them to update our CRM with all this data to know lead quality and lead interest in the programs. And then based on that, we know where we need to tweak our ad copy or audience segmentation, etc. So crucial. And then we meet with the recruitment leadership team monthly to go on overarching topics that affect all programs.
I cannot stress enough to listeners, both on the marketing side and on the enrollment management side, how important it is to share that data. I have talked to people on the marketing side that have said that their admissions team or their recruiting team doesn't share like the conversion rates, or they don't share that data readily. And the challenge that you have then is you could have a campaign that's, like Christina's saying, pulling in the wrong students or pulling in students who aren't qualified leads, or they're not good leads. And if she doesn't know, how is she going to make changes to that campaign and make tweaks? And I'm like putting an underline and an exclamation mark on what Cristina just said, because it's absolutely vital that you are hand in glove and getting that information and sharing that information. And I see so many people get really territorial with that data, but for this to work, it needs to be immediate. And I think the point that you made earlier about having access to data and being able to be nimble and make changes in a more agile way, I'm just thinking about, I was talking to someone who said that their digital marketing vendor gave them reports at the end of the campaigns. So if there was a problem with any aspect of it, like maybe the landing page wasn't converting or whatever, you didn't know until the campaign was done. So if you are going to go in-house, or if you're going to use an agency, if you're doing an RFP to get an agency, I mean, you want real-time dashboards at the minimum so that you can see what's working and what's not and make adjustments accordingly, whether that's you on your team doing it or the agency. But you can't have an agency that's doing just a monthly report or doing an end of campaign report, because you could be missing significant opportunity if you don't.
Yeah, I agree with you, Jamie. The idea is to have visibility and address things early. You don't want to say, oh, our campaign failed and this is what went wrong. No, you need to try to predict. For example, we have the open house campaign right now going, and it's like a 6-week campaign where we are trying to get as many people to our graduate school open house. And from week 1, we know how many RSVPs we're expecting, week 2, week 3. If we're in the middle of the campaign and the numbers are not there, okay, what are we missing? What is the message? You need to address those things early. I agree.
Absolutely. I'm really curious, since you're doing all of this in-house, how, if at all, are you incorporating AI into your strategy?
Yeah, AI is very popular now. So you think, okay, how can I use it? And obviously you would love to use as many tools as possible, but you also need time to learn those tools. So it's, it's focusing on your priorities. So for example, we have a large volume of entry service, right? I told you we have like 1,600 students every year. And we have this entry service that have a lot of like qualitative data that is showing like questions like, why did you choose FIU? What are your expectations with this graduate program? And we let people write. We don't want to just measure. We want people to express their ideas. And then you have 1,500 rows of comments, and you're like, how am I going to process it? So AI is amazing for identifying patterns of thoughts among students, and it helps us highlight the top 10 reasons or common ideas that students are expressing. And that way we were able to also identify segments of our students, those who want to launch their business, those who want to get a promotion, those who are pivoting and changing industries. And for each one of them, then we know that we need to create content to help them in their journey, right? So AI, like tools like ChatGPT, are excellent for processing a large volume of qualitative data. Then, for example, in Google Ads, Google is innovating a lot with performance max and other types of advertising options and also bidding strategies that leverage AI. So they'll ask it, how can you help us with first party data to improve the quality of your leads, right? And so we are collaborating with Google and upload first party data that helps their AI models to find the signals and patterns of prospective students that could be higher quality. And we did see an improve in conversion rates from prospective student to applicant when we started helping the algorithm with first party data. And so the only challenge there is that you need to have a certain volume of applicants to teach these AI models. So we had success there, and it was a learning curve. We have our hiccups. We had to collaborate with IT, but I'm very pleased with that result. And then, for example, we have tools like SEMrush that, if you're familiar with it, they have a section where you write an article and they help you with keywords for SEO. And they mention a rating of your article for certain terms. So we get their suggestions sometimes. SEMrush has a lot of tools that, leverage AI. And then in the advertising platforms, now they're showing like suggestions of ad copies. Let me tell you, sometimes those ad copies are very not creative, but it gives you some inspiration and you tweak them, and it's not like you fully rely on them, but sometimes they are helpful. And for example, the video editing software like Adobe Creative Cloud, they now help you with the subtitle and the captions for the videos. So again, you have to review, you have to make sure the grammar is correct, but it makes the work much faster than in the past where you had to type the captions. So those are some of the ideas. And then the CRM we use Salesforce, and they offer tons of automation tools, and they have Engagement Studio, which helps you organize email communications based on some actions of the customer. So that's also very useful and removes a lot of manual work.
I feel like AI has unlocked everything I've always wanted to do in my career. Like, I just think about, and I wrote about this in my book, we had an intern go back and caption like several years of videos back in like 2012 or 2013 or something like that. And that intern was literally typing every word that was said manually into the captions for dozens, if not hundreds of videos. And I know, like, YouTube has provided automated captions for a while, but now we're at the point where it's so much more accurate. You're just going through and fixing little things here and there versus typing it all in. And that was like, we paid that student thousands of dollars over the course of a year to do all of that work that can just be done with a click. But I want to underscore what you were saying about data analysis. I can't even remember. I just remember it was awful trying to like make that data make sense manually when you didn't have AI to help you with it. Like, it was so time intensive, so brain intensive to like code all of that data. And now it's like a prompt, maybe a couple prompts, maybe some, and then you can work with like a chat GPT or a Copilot or Gemini and go back and forth and ask questions about the data once it has like, what about this? What about that? And you can build personas based on that data. I mean, it just takes our marketing to the absolute next level.
Yes. And I think then marketing research team will be more open to adding more open-ended questions, which are the ones that reveal the gold, right? Instead of having 1 to 10, how satisfied are you with customer service or your experience? And then you don't know what you don't know, right? So you want to open the door to hearing from your customer absolutely everything.
Well, and hearing it in their words is so helpful. And it gives you so many insights, I think, beyond what like a Likert scale of rate 1 to 10 or rate 1 to 5. It's just, there's so many more insights embedded in that. And like you're saying, if you have 1,500 people doing these surveys, that is so much data to review at the end of the day.
It's very difficult to do it by hand. Yes.
So if another school is considering like, hey, I need to be in-house or I want to maximize how I'm doing this in-house, what advice would you suggest in terms of what they should invest in first? Is it the people? Is it the tools? Like, what is the first things that they should be checking off their list if they're making this move?
Yeah. I know usually teams have limited resources. So I would start my homework with going through the entire student journey from awareness to graduation or until the point where the marketing team works with them and see what is happening there. Are they filling out a form? Where that information goes? What happens after that, right? And then see, okay, what are the areas where I can contribute and where I have in-house expertise? And then expand from there and conquer a little bit each time, right? Then to me, I think it's crucial if you're considering to bring people and do in-house marketing to hire people with experience in higher education and people who are versatile, right? So what I mean versatile is since we have limited resources, you need people who have strategic vision, but also are open to getting their hands dirty, hands-on people. For example, in my case, yes, I can do research and think about what do I want to achieve, how I want to achieve it. But when it comes the moment of doing it, I am open to opening Photoshop and doing a banner. Obviously, I cannot do it as good as the designer, but I have to be open to learn because you have to wear multiple hats at the beginning. And once you are able to expand your team, obviously you won't be editing banners, but at the beginning, you have to be open to that.
That is such good advice and such good insight. I think about my first job as a VP, and I was trying to transform how we do all the marketing. And I was trying to they had two separate divisions. One was PR, one was marketing, and bringing that all together and really create this brand for the university. And it wasn't something where I could just I'm going to dictate and other people execute. Like I needed to have my hands in there. I needed to be in the project management system, helping people get stuff set up. Like it wasn't something where you could just stand back and let other people figure it out. And I think having a lot of people think, oh, once I'm, a director, I don't do the work anymore. And I don't think that that's the case. It's not just managing people. It's you need to be able to get in there and do the work as well.
Yes. And also when you ask the designer how long it will take you, if you haven't done it, you don't have an idea of the workload. And they have a lot of things on the plate sometimes, and you need to, prioritize and organize the work. So definitely walk the talk, right? It's very important.
Well, I think too, even like my husband and I had a photo studio for a couple of years from, I guess, 2010, 2012 till about 2015. And so I can speak the language of the photographers. I can talk about focal lengths and depth of field. And, could you try doing this technique or that technique? And that also, I think, gives you some credibility with the team too, when you can speak the language of their work. Like, okay, this isn't somebody managing me who doesn't know anything. They can't even set up a Zoom themselves, they know you can and have done the work before, which I think is helpful.
Yes, I agree 100%.
So I'm curious about what technology platforms or tools you have found to be really essential for doing this type of work.
Yes. I mean, besides the advertising platforms, we don't use an extra layer of a software that posts to all advertising platforms. We work directly with native platforms like Google Ads, Meta, which covers Facebook and Instagram, LinkedIn. So definitely knowing in depth all the technical aspects, it's crucial. And then, as I was mentioning, data, having accurate data in your CRM is also very important. So knowing how data arrives to the CRM, how it's updated, how it's managed, who gets what email, how are you doing your segmentation? That's also very important. And in our case, we have Salesforce CRM and we work closely with IT. So yes, marketers and ITs are like best friends nowadays. So IT team needs to be very supportive. And then for internal communications and for staying nimble and innovative, as I was mentioning earlier, you need to have a good project management tool. In our case, we use Asana, and that gives us visibility of what's going on, what's pending, what's high priority. And then we are always available via Teams. So our team meets every day and we say what we're working on, what our obstacles are, what we're trying to achieve this week. So we are all on the same page and can support each other, right? I was thinking, should I move that to a weekly meeting. I'm like, no. There's too much going on every day. We need to meet every day. And it's not a long meeting. It's maximum 20 minutes. And we go over everything. And that gives us mental organization of what's coming. So yes, those tools are very useful.
Yeah, I love that you meet that often. And I think sometimes, like, even if you're doing it literally standing up makes the meeting go shorter, or if you're doing it and you have this time limit or something. But I think it's so helpful, particularly in the kind of work where you're talking about you could get a piece of information that might change how you want to handle an ad or change some copy in something or, whatever. And you can't wait 5 business days to convey that information to your team. You need to be able to take action on it right away. So I love that.
Yes. And something else I wanted to add, these advertising platforms, Meta, Google Ads, LinkedIn, they have in-house support that is open to meeting with you, let's say every 15 days, once a month, depending on the needs. And they are an amazing resource because they know all the new functionalities these platforms offer. If you're stuck with a problem or let's say your conversion rates are too high, you could ask him, okay, I'm not sure what's not working. And they are a valuable resource. So try to connect with this representative if you set up the account and start meeting with them because it's very important to stay up to date in all the new functionalities in the advertising world.
That's so true. I love that. If you could add one new skill or resource to your team to make your strategy even stronger, what would it be?
So right now, as I said, we have 5 team members. We do the social media, search ads, website content, social media content, a lot of content. We are focused on content, but I feel like content is never enough, right? You want to interview so many students, record events on campus, and you have 2 hands and you wish you had 100. So if I could increase the volume of the content we generate and also have more higher production editing capabilities, I would love to do that, right? FIU Chapman Graduate School of Business, it's a large graduate school. It's one of the top business schools in Florida and the US. And I always want to, do the best content to represent that. And sometimes I feel like I don't have enough resources. So right now we're focused on user-generated content and with the new content strategies, trying to take the content creation to the next level. So definitely content creation is an area I would love to expand on.
I feel like half the people I talk to say that it's like a machine or a monster that you're trying to feed, right? You're like constantly throwing more and more content and there never is enough. Like you're never going to hit enough. So I think that's a very common desire. This conversation has been so great. If people have questions for you, where can they find you?
So I'm very active on LinkedIn. And then because I work so much with social media, when I get home, I don't have time for any personal social media. But on LinkedIn, I'm very active. My last name is not the most common. So if you type Cristina without H, Cristina Lopez Yakimenko, you will find me on LinkedIn. And I'm happy to connect and share some ideas.
That's awesome. And listeners, as you know, you can always find me on LinkedIn at Jaime Hunt, Jaime. And you can also find me on my website, which is Solve Higher Ed. And now that my book is out, you can find my book at heartoverhypebook.com. And I would love to hear from you and hear about what you're doing, whether you're doing marketing in-house, if you're looking at growing your team, you're marketing individual programs or individual colleges. I would love to hear from you. And in the meantime, let's go bust some silos. Confessions of a Higher Ed CMO is part of the Enrollify podcast network. If you like this podcast, chances are you'll like other Enrollify shows too. Our podcast network is growing by the month, and we've got a plethora of marketing, enrollment, and higher ed technology shows that are jam-packed with stories, ideas, and frameworks, all designed to empower you to be a better higher ed professional. Our shows help higher ed marketers and admissions professionals find their next big idea and feature a selection of the industry best as your host. Learn from Mallory Wilsey, Seth Odell, Jenny Lee Fowler, Eddie Francis, and so many other of your favorite leaders in higher ed. Enrollify is made possible by Element 451, the leading AI-powered all-in-one student engagement platform, helping institutions create meaningful, personalized, and engaging interactions with students. Learn more at element451.com.